Hello again, this is Gwen with CraftyLadyDesigns.com. I'm back with part two of our Mother Goose baby sleeping door hanger. We finished off with the first video just basically with making our door hanger. The door hanger measures 10 by 5. I had to draw a hole with this little bottle I have on my desk. It's Matte Finish Multimedia by Claudine Helmworth. My punch wasn't big enough, number one, but number two, it wouldn't punch through. Now we're using grunge paper because I wanted it flexible, but with some body. I covered the front of it with the blue star paper. I covered the back with the song words of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. I've laid down here to show you I don't have a pre-design when I do something, not even a greeting card. I just start to pull things out and kind of start layering things together and putting things together. I went through the paper pad on video number 1 and showed you the cut aparts. There's 2 pages and different sizes of the cut aparts. One page, they're 6 by 4, and then they're various sizes. This one, for example, is a large stamp, and it measures 3 by 4. So I've cut apart several of these. I cut apart these stamps. I use these stamps a lot. I just love the stamps. And then I've glued them on a piece of black chipboard. I'm going to cut them out so they'll have some body to them, and then I'll probably stack them somewhere on the door pull. These are just, here's a postcard, for example. This is Humpty Dumpty. Here's just, says Mother Goose. A little girl, I can't get it there, a little girl. It's a postage stamp. These are all oversized postage stamps. This page I haven't cut yet. I'm going to cut it during the video. These are the 4 by 6 cut aparts. There's a Rockabye Baby bedtime story. You could use this for journaling. Journaling here, Little Boy Blue, Twinkle Twinkle. And on the back side is virtually the same thing. And I'm going to cut these apart on the video here while we're working on it. So, let's get started. I'm going to lay these aside right over here. I've put on my glue gun to warm up because I'll be using that for flowers and other embellishments. I lay these on my cutting board to cut them out. It's because they're the same on both sides, you can cut them out with the cutting board. It's faster. It doesn't maybe always cut them where you want them. It's pretty close, and then I go back and trim them up. And as I say, I want to put flowers on here, of course. I have some oversized buttons that are cute. All my buttons, I like to take the buttons and at least thread them where the holes are so they appear, they look more finished in my opinion. So we might do some buttons and some charms and odds and ends. Okay. We have this cut apart. Now I'll certainly probably go back and trim some of these up. I'm going to take this stamp. As I say, I took the stamps, I cut them out. These are smaller. And then I glued them to the chipboard. So I'm going to cut around them. And it'll give them more body. And then I'll be able to stand them up and stack them. I use these a lot. I really like them. You just cut them out with the craft knife. You got to be very careful. Craft knives are very sharp. I don't have a cutter. I do have the big rotary cutter for chipboard, but it won't do little things like this. There's one. See, there's one. And it gives it a little border as well. I haven't seen any of these little door hangings for babies. I do baby banners that you hang over their beds. And I think I'm going to do a YouTube on making the banners. It's their name spelled out, and then they're tied together with ribbon, and there's a hanger on each side where you can hang them up over their bed. There's a their name, and then at the beginning and the end there is just, it's not a blank, but I want to say it's a blank, but it isn't blank. It is just decorative, and then their name starts and ends, and then there's one at the end as well. And it depends on the size of their name, of course, what size the banner comes out. And a little trouble with this one. There we go. Okay, good. One more. Cut it out. And then I always take my sander, my little sanding block, and kind of bevel down the edges just a little bit so they're a little finer. I use these little stamps a lot, and most all of the collections, Graphic 45's collections, have the little stamps. When you get to the ends and you stop, unless you go past, you can go back the other direction and just cut down in the corner to make sure you get that corner clear. I haven't quite got it yet. And then I get across the top, and we'll be finished with this. I use my craft knife so much, and I know a lot of people doesn't like their craft or doesn't use it. And then you've got to be very careful. They're very sharp. But you get a good straight line. I cut with scissors as well, but I'm not as good. I don't cut it as straight. There we go. Now I'm going to take my little... So there we have them all cut out. I'm just going to go over just to bevel the edges a little bit. Nothing major. So they're good and finished. Sanding block is Making Memories sanding block. I believe I've had it a good while. They last a long while. There's also the Tim Holtz sanding block. Okay, we've got that finished. Now I need to decide, because it's a little boy. There's a little boy in bed looking at the stars. There's a little boy. Little Jack Horner sits in the corner. Or is that him? I don't know. Here's a little girl. We're not going to use her. We will use her. Here's the cow jumping over the moon. Humpty Dumpty. I love Humpty Dumpty. We'll have to use him. Here's Mary, Mary, Quite Contrary. We'll save that for the little girl. Here's a bedtime story. And that would probably be for a little girl. Here's Little Boy Blue. And that's for journaling. Mary Had a Little Lamb. Here's Humpty Dumpty again, but I think I'm going to use the small one. Here's a bedtime story. This is so cute. We could use for journaling. And Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. And that's our... but I think I'm going to use the Little Boy Blue because it's stars, but they're red for journaling. I'm going to use the postcard. And I'm going to use Humpty Dumpty. And maybe the little boy looking out the window. We're going to use the three little ones. And then, as I say, I just started kind of putting things together and adding things and see how we come out. Let's get some things posted on here. And then, and as I say now, when I cut this one out, there's some black trim up there. And I want to take my craft knife and trim that off. And that top part is a little wider than the rest of the blue binding, so I want them to virtually be the same. And there they are. I'm going to take the vintage photo, and I'm going to I'm going to do the same here. I had some black left on here when I trimmed it off with the cutter. It's kind of hard to get them exact with the cutter, but it's still easier and you get a nice straight line and faster, and then go back and finish them off like this with your craft knife to straighten up the edges or to even out the edges, whatever. Also going to go, I don't like, well, I like the vintage photo with the paper line because most all, not all, but most all of Graphic 45 papers lend themselves to the vintage photo for the distressing. There again, I need to clean up this edge. The designers at Graphic 45 are very talented designers. Watch a lot of their things. Our designers at scrapadabadoo.com are very talented as well. They have come up with some brilliant projects that are so pretty. Okay. There we go. Okay, we're going to do the edges on all of these. I want to roll some of these edges, which is kind of a signature of mine that I like to do. I've done it one time. I've got some big altered canvases that I've used the paper. To roll the edge, I just take it and take my bone folder and kind of roll it like you roll a ribbon. I sometimes glue it down, I sometimes don't, because I want it to look real natural if I can. You could this, you're not going to mail this or anything. When you mail a card and you roll the edges and the little star, and then I'm going to go back over where I've rolled it and stain it a little more to give it more contrast. Okay. Okay, I'm just laying this out on my, and I want to build these up. Well, you're not going to do a lot of journaling. I keep on this. The postcard may be too big. You don't want anything in the way. No, it's not. It's okay. But I'm going to build these up so they stand up. I am going to take, it's not quite enough. If you take chipboard, if you want to build your projects up, take chipboard and put them on the back, and then put your tape, put your chipboard on the back, and then take your tape and build that up as well. I'm going to cut this off. I'm going to put this chipboard on the back, and then I'm going to use my phone tape and build it up even more. Other than, I don't need that to stick out like that. Let's see. I think this will be sufficient. Okay. I'll take my score tape and glue these down. I used to always cut my score tape, and then I don't know, I stopped. When we get these added on, then we'll stop the video, and I'll have to do a third one, but that's okay. I want to do this till it's completed for you and see what you think and give you some ideas here. So I'm putting down the chipboard on the back of the postcard, and then I'm going to take my foam tape. I use this foam tape a lot. I use other types of things too, as well, but this will make it even higher. And a lot of times when you raise these things up, and then you have the opportunity to slide things underneath to kind of hide things and that type of thing. Okay, now I'm going to put this askew, as they say, at an angle, like so. And see the back, I left down. I did not go too far in the back. So there we have the postcard with little flowers and a watering can. We're going to do the same thing with Little Boy Blue. I'm going to cut a strip. This is heavy chipboard, but these scissors will cut it. Okay, I'm going to put this gore tape on. Score tape on the chipboard. I love score tape. I used to use the red line tape, which is an excellent tape. No question about that. It's just, you can tear this. And it's just easier to use. Putting the foam tape on the back, just like we did. Take it off. I'm going to put him at an angle. It's going to hang over, but that's okay. And then we're going to put Humpty Dumpty. Humpty Dumpty. I love Humpty Dumpty. I'm going to do this, make him a little darker. He is a large postage stamp. I need another piece of chipboard. That'll work. I have a bag of pieces of chipboard. I save all of them for things like this, and then occasionally you just need a small piece. So I just put them in a little plastic bag. See, it's not very big. I hope I've been in camera. Sorry. There we go. Now we're going to do the... No, I did that. We're going to do now I'm going to turn this over. I may have to put it here. I'm going to have to put another piece. I'll put another piece of foam. Let's see. Because I build it up so much. So I can adhere it to the bottom. So see what I did? I build it up with the chipboard and the foam. Then I put another piece of chipboard, because this part is going to be on this level, this part is going to be on the top level, and this part is going to be on the bottom level, and then there's a big difference in height. So I'm going to do it this way. Okay. Yeah, okay. There we go. So see how I built that up? Now I put on the postcard first with one layer chipboard and one layer of this foam, which is about a 1/16 of an inch wide. I put the little boy blue on top of the postcard, and you could write some journaling on there if you'd like. Roll the edges, and then on the bottom I put little boy blue. Now I'm going to try to put the little stamps, but I'm at 20 minutes and I need to stop the video until we can start over with number 3. So where we are, we have the door hanging, and we've embellished part of it. We've got to start on it, and we've got to start on it. I'm going to stop the video and then come back with additional embellishments. See you in a little bit. Thank you so much.